When you take a close look of 50 self-made billionaires of the last 35 to 40 years, they all had one thing in common. They had a deep learning brain model. So if you look at the 50 self-made billionaires of the last 30 years, all of them had a deep learning brain model. So if you think about it, what is a billionaire mindset? Because there's always this thing that success leaves clues. No billionaire ever fluked their way to the top. No billionaire just got lucky. Elon Musk now is thinking about getting to Mars. That's his ecstatic desire. And so that's a mindset because it's a $1 billion mindset. His mind does not stop because it's a $1 billion mindset. It's a deep learning mindset. Every single one of those billionaires, self-made billionaires that started with zero, had a deep learning mindset. Now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you a trick. Okay, I'm going to show you a recipe. You just have to master this recipe and you're on your way to getting a deep learning mindset, which means you're on the way to getting a $1 billion mindset. And listen, don't think about what other people will say. Think about you for one moment. Think about your experience, okay? There's a world out there that's negative. There's a world out there that's going for the cheap dopamine, cheap decision making, make you feel good now for long-term decline. Everyone has capacity to do big things. It's just that your mindset's holding you back. And then you've got other mindsets that are holding you back that are around you. So, this is what I want you to do. Simple, okay? One, I want you to spend 1 week, day 1 to day 7, writing down at the end of every day or during the day, 5 goals per day. Just write them down. That's your first thing. Now, the goals, make them big. Don't limit yourself to small goals. Make the goals huge. There's no limits. This is the key here. Because what happens, a lot of people, they make the goals really small. They make it so small and easy. Oh, I've got confidence because I've completed that goal. No. This is not the deep learning mindset. If you're looking for the easy, this is not the easy. This is the growth. This is life-changing. So, here's the recipe. This is the recipe that will change your life. Day 1, day 2, day 3 to day 7, every day, write 5 goals. Make them big. Make them big. I don't care what it is. Anything, make it big. Maybe you want to cure something, whatever. Make it big. Then, number 2, choose one. So, 5 goals per day for 1 week. From that list, choose one. Choose one. I'm going to choose one of those from that list. Whichever one sparks your interest, whatever it is. And don't go for the easiest. Don't go for the simple. Go for whatever sparks your interests. Because billionaire mindsets are not academic. So don't worry if you've never been to university, because a billionaire mindset has got nothing to do whether you're academic or not. In fact, a lot of billionaires weren't academic. It's a really important point when I hear a lot of people say, well, you know what, I'm not educated enough. No, wrong. That's because the education system was flawed anyway. It created bad habits. It created a system which was just reproducing information and following a process. That's not the $1 billion mindset. That's not the deep learning mindset. That's the mindset to get you to depression and anxiety and to follow rules for the rest of your life. If this is what you want, stick to what you're doing. This is about the $1 billion mindset. This is about the deep learning mindset. So, 5 goals per day, make them big, the bigger the better. Choose 1, 2, 3. Now this one here, once you've chosen one, write down all the problems. So you've chosen your goal, write down all the problems that you will have to overcome to get to your goal. Now think about this, the bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity. So keep writing, what is the problem? How am I going to get there? And what's the problems for me to get? Because there has to be problems. There's no goal with no problems. If you're choosing a goal with no problems, your goals are too low. This is not a deep learning mindset. This is not a $1 billion mindset. If you're choosing a goal because you've already got the knowledge and skill sets to do so, that's not a $1 billion mindset. That's not a deep learning mindset. It's too easy. There's no growth there. Because we tend to choose goals because, oh, I've got skill sets in that area. Oh, you know, it's easy for me because I can already do this. No. There's no growth in that. You're just following a process. So we start with the 5 goals, we choose one, then we write down all the problems. The more problems you write down, the better. The more harder the problems, the bigger the opportunity. And number 4, action. Start actioning the problems. And here's the magic here. Action, look at the problems, because now you've got a recipe. Okay, this is what's standing in my way to get to my goal. So you've got now a recipe, you've got now a process. You've built your own little now plan. Now we're going to choose a goal. Okay, whatever, choose one and action it. And here's the magic. You're choosing goals where you don't have the knowledge and skill sets to do so. So you're solving and actioning on a problem, and you're not waiting to get the knowledge and skills, so you're just jumping in because you are going to make mistakes, because you are going to fail, because you are going to have setbacks, because we're chasing problems, because we're chasing the failures and we're chasing the mistakes. Yes, this is where the magic is. And as you're doing that and you're falling over and you're reflecting because the thing is, you're solving a problem, you know that you're solving a problem because you know the goal. You've chosen the goal. And as you do this, you're going to notice that your life's going to change. You're going to start to grow. You're going to start to meet new people. You're going to start to form new patterns in your life. Because what you do after this, and this is really number 5, what you do when you attempt to solve a problem. I had a massive failure yesterday in some technology company that I'm working on at the moment. And I'm trying to get somewhere in this technology, and I had a massive failure. And I didn't have the skill sets, but I learned so much because I reflected. And so I had a massive failure yesterday. And when I reflected, I realized the gaps, and I realized that I had more problems, which means now I'm back here, which means now my map has grown. And so I feel once I reflect, I am much more enhanced now than I was yesterday. And I'm much more clearer now than what I was yesterday. So I'm going to go and attempt and solve that particular problem again, but I'm going to do something completely different because I had that failing and I made that mistake and I didn't see another problem, but now I see it. So I want to solve that problem, and I'm going to go back and attempt to solve that problem again, because once I solve that problem, I'm getting closer. And as we start solving problems, we're growing and developing. Our brain now is creating a new model in its head. It's creating a new recipe. And all of a sudden, you'll notice if you create a habit out of this, you don't have to do anything else. You just do this every single day for the rest of your life is going to become limitless. There's nothing you won't be able to do. There's no goals you won't be able to reach. Because as you're solving each problem, you're growing and developing, you're changing. And all of a sudden, you're moving into areas where you never dreamed. Because the beauty about a deep learning mindset, the beauty about is you're developing a $1 billion mindset. Remember, success leaves clues. And when I was studying the 50 self-made billionaires the last 30 years, the one thing they all had is they all did this. All of them. Every single one of them did this. And the goals were big. People say, oh, choose small goals, choose little goals to give you confidence. I say, no, don't do that. Choose big goals so we can have big problems, so we can have big failures, so then we can reflect on that failure, then we can grow and develop. Because as you're solving problems towards the goal, you're growing and developing, you're extending yourself. There's no point doing things over and over again, following a process over and over again. Because guess what? When you're continually doing a process, when you've got knowledge and skill set of something, so you're just going to continue doing that, there's no growth in that. There's no creativity in that. You're not moving far. And it doesn't matter what you do, if you're doing the same thing because you've got the skill sets and knowledge to do it, but you're only doing it because you've got the skill sets and knowledge to do it, you're not growing, you're not developing, and you lose sight of where you want to go. Every single one of you can do this. Step 1, spend 7 days, just write 5 goals a day. Step 2, choose one. Step 3, write down the problems. List all the problems. Remember, the more problems, bigger the problems. Even when you think the problems are impossible, how am I going to raise $1 million? How am I going to raise $5 million? That's what, I was working on this project, AI project, recently, and we came to a point where we got into a bit of a problem. And so we've created the product, there's a problem, and all of a sudden we probably need to raise about $5 to $10 million. There's a big problem. There's a big problem. And that is a great problem. That is a fantastic problem. Because now we have to solve that problem. And so all of a sudden, before you know it, you're creating more problems. And when you're in that mindset, when you're expecting and chasing the problem, there's a way of approaching your work, your day, your planning, everything through this mechanism. Because when you're actioning a problem, when you don't have the skill sets and knowledge to do so, you know you're going to make mistakes. You know you're going to have failures. You know you might get embarrassed. We know that. We accept that. That's part of the process. You think Elon Musk or Steve Jobs never got embarrassed? You think they never made mistakes? You know, they didn't do anything silly and crazy and people were talking behind their back? Of course they did. They do it all the time. But they follow this process because when they make mistakes, they're focused on this. And they know that every time they make mistakes, they reflect. And here's another big thing. You have to reflect. We have to learn to reflect. What's reflection? We're writing down what happened. We're writing down how we felt. We're writing down what we could have done differently. We're doing this every single day. So we're getting an experience and then we're reflecting on that experience. Because remember, it's not the experience that's going to get you to the next level. It's the reflection on the experience. So when we reflect on an experience and we start to realize, okay, these are the gaps, fantastic, more problems. And all of a sudden you've created your process, you've created your own map. The subconscious now in your head is working really, really hard to process your plan because it knows where you're going, and your neurons in your head know where you're going and know what you're doing. And this becomes part of your daily life. This is my map. This is my recipe every single day. This is what I do every single day. None of my goals are small. I fail, I make mistakes, I fall over, but at the end of the day I reflect. And I have lots of problems because that now is, those problems that I have, that's my planning, that's my actions, that's where I set my most important tasks, what I need to do, the habits I need to create, the people I need to talk to, etc., etc., etc. No one creates it for you. Remember this. No one has a plan for you. The only person that has a plan for you is you. Okay? Your boss doesn't have a plan for you. No one has a plan for you. Everyone has a plan for themselves. And then we get together because we've got goals that align. And when people get goals that align, we work in teams, which is fantastic because we have the similar goals. But you create your own plan. And this is my recipe. I'm giving you my recipe. This is my recipe. You learn this. This is the deep learning way. This is the deep learning mindset. But like anything else, you can do it once, twice, not much is going to change. It has to become a habit. You have to automate this process. It has to be every single day, non-stop, just like you're eating. You've got to do it every single day, non-stop, until your brain gets used to this. We're solving problems. Why am I solving that problem? Why am I solving that problem? So we don't just solve problems for the sake of solving problems. We have a purpose to why we're solving that problem. And that's the key. And you will see through your own experience. I don't have to tell you this. Your friends don't have to tell you this. You will experience it. Because that's the key. It's self-experience. No one needs to tell me how I feel. The only person that tells me how I feel is me. And that's the same with you. I don't tell you how do you feel. You experience it and then tell me how you feel. If it's negative, it doesn't work, fine. This is my recipe. And that's what I do in my businesses, in all aspects of my life. My goals are big. They're hard. And there's a reason why you look at someone like Elon who says, I'm going to Mars. There's going to be a point, his head, where humans are going to start living in Mars. That's his goal. It is big. It is ambitious. His SpaceX program, he's failed so many times. His goals are huge. They're meant to be huge. There's meant to be failures. Thomas Edison is an example. 10,000 times he failed and failed and failed and failed because his goal was so huge, his actions were about solving problems. And through that process he learned and grew and the rest is history. Every single person can become a deep learner. A deep learning mindset is one ingredient towards a $1 billion mindset. A self-made $1 billion mindset. And it's never, ever, ever too late. Ever. No. Age does not play a role here. Anyone at any age can do this, can change their life, because this here is your greatest ever asset.